Hey guys, what's going on? Vile Self here, and this video is going to be a little different. I just want to kind of get something off my chest and just talk about something a little bit. And I don't want to sound like I am, generalizing or picking on an entire group of people because, this is about gamers and fanboys and, treating people with respect and stuff like that. And I'm going to speak about, Xbox fans and the Xbox Mafia, but I don't want to generalize because I do know some great guys that are part of the Xbox Mafia and who are Xbox loyal gamers. So I don't want to generalize and say that they're all like this, but I have to say, in my time on Twitter, I've blocked several Xbox Mafia members, uh, basically just for being incredibly rude to me for absolutely no reason, with no provocation, um, you know, and really no reason behind it. But it's just got to the point where I just felt like making a video about it, and I'm gonna show you guys some examples of some stuff that happened today. But just to back up a little bit, um, there was some discussion today on Twitter that I saw regarding Xbox One getting a potential performance boost. Apparently, the new dev kits that have been released in June have some extra tools that the developers can work with, and it should be able to let game developers create better games with better graphics or better performance or whatever for future Xbox One games. I thought this was great news. I was commenting on it. I was, asking questions to people that might know some answers, like, how are they going to do this? Is this something that has to do with the new connectless Xbox that's coming out? I was just asking some questions. And then this one guy, who I'm not going to name because I don't like calling people out, and this guy is not the guy that really gave me a problem, but he came out and said something along the lines of, um, it doesn't matter what happens. He says Xbox is better than PlayStation no matter what, and it's always software over hardware, and Xbox has the best games, and he said Sony's games can't compare to Xbox games. So, that I find, he's entitled to his opinion, but I find that to be a pretty ignorant thing to say. Um, so I pretty much played what every PlayStation fan's trump card is. It's The Last of Us. Basically, I mean, that's all you have to say really to shut an Xbox fanboy up. It's just how much have you played The Last of Us, and they shut right up. But anyways, I basically played the trump card, which was, The Last of Us won over 200 Game of the Year awards last year, and it's a Sony exclusive. So, how could you say that Sony games don't even compare when it was a Sony game that basically won everybody over last year? And it's not just The Last of Us, it's a lot of other Sony exclusive games too. And I'm not taking anything away from Xbox exclusive. They all have their great ratings and their great reviews and their great fan bases and all that stuff. But none of them have 200 Game of the Year reviews. That's a feat that is probably going to be go unmatched, unrivaled for a while. So anyway, I just played that card to him, and then somebody else who I don't even know these people. They're just commenting on my tweets, but somebody else commented on there with a quote that Sony lies and pays people to give good reviews, and there's two links. So of course I'm interested. I want to see this. I want to see, did Sony pay people to lie about The Last of Us? Did they pay people to give it a good review? So I had to click these links. So I click one link and I click the other link too, and they're both basically from the same story. But it was an incident that happened back in 2001, and it had to do with the Sony movie division. Basically, had nothing to do with gaming, had nothing to do with Sony Music or Sony Electronics or anything Sony related other than the specific movie division. And it was basically what happened was an employee at Sony who is in charge of, I guess, PR, marketing or whatever for, movies, promoting movies and stuff like that. He basically created a false review about some movies. The two movies that were listed were A Knight's Tale and The Animal, featuring Rob Schneider, which I thought was a pretty funny movie personally. It is a lame movie, but I got a kick out of it for its time. But anyways, this guy created a false person and basically posted a review claiming that these movies are great and blah 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 blah, but they were fake reviews. So when this was all found out, Sony was confronted about it, and they were actually told that basically a lawsuit was filed against them, and Sony had to pay. It was something like 1.5 million dollars or something like that out to compensate for these fake reviews. And what happened was, if you were one of the people who went to the theaters to see these movies after these reviews had been out, then you were entitled to a $5 rebate based on the fact that these movies were, the ads for these movies were paired with false reviews. Now, apparently, Sony did an internal investigation, and two members of their staff were suspended or fired or something like that. I think suspended for causing this whole mishap. Now, in no way do those two offenders represent the entire company, and in absolutely no way does this incident reflect the entire company, especially in other divisions, namely the gaming division, which is essentially what I was talking about to begin with. So, with that said, I read the articles and I was kind of taken back, like not only at the fact that this was like 13 or 14 years old, but the fact that it didn't even have anything to do with gaming, and it just made me realize that there's people out there that'll look at a title of a headline and they'll just click it, they'll just retweet it, and they'll just spread it like wildfire because it looks like bad news. It looks like it's something that's gonna somehow make Sony look bad. And I couldn't believe how many retweets this thing was getting. Like it only got like maybe 5 or 6 retweets, but it was in a span of like 10 seconds. And I was like, did anybody read this thing, or are you guys just retweeting it because it says something bad about Sony in the headline? And I just think that's a poisonous thing. I think that's really shallow and really low for people to just try to spread bad news about Sony just to try to make Sony look bad to other gamers. It's just appalling, really. And I expressed my opinions that this article is outdated and has nothing to do with the topic that we were talking about. And then I started getting harassed by yet another member of the Xbox Mafia. I'm gonna say this guy's name. His name's J Rock. I don't know what his at mention is. I think it's like Metal Face Doom XX, something like that. But anyway, he's known as J Rock. I've seen him post before. He's posted rude things before. He's posted offensive things before, and I know people that have him blocked already. Basically because he is a super Xbox fanboy and he will do anything in his power to get under the skin of somebody that likes PlayStation or somebody that might have a slight dislike for Xbox, like myself. I don't hate Xbox. I don't have anything really personal against it. It's just not for me. Not right now anyway. It's not for me. But anyways, this guy starts literally verbally abusing me on Twitter, and it got to the point where I was responding to him, but I was trying to respond to him in sort of snappy ways, but not be too offensive. Just kind of grow up type of responses. And then he was just tweeting me for no reason, like 2 or 3 tweets in a row without me even responding. And I thought that was pretty lame. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm not gonna sit here and get upset about this guy's bad attitude. He's throwing around false accusations, which I've heard a million times. Like people say that Sony fans are begging for Xbox One games, which is 100% entirely untrue. But I just want to know, where these people get off thinking that it's okay to just start slamming people on the internet, people you don't know, people that weren't even talking to you to begin with, and people that were not saying anything bad about you or your console or anything to begin with. I wasn't talking bad about Xbox, and I try never to talk bad about Xbox. But I mean, if I retweet an article that says, um, insert game title here is 1080p on PS4 and 900p on Xbox One, I'm retweeting that because I'm happy it's 1080p on PS4. I'm not retweeting it to try to slam the fact that it's 900p on Xbox One. That's not what it's about. But Xbox fans see that and they think that I'm trying to insult them, or they think that I'm trying to make fun of their console, or trying to belittle them, or trying to say that 1080p is the only thing that matters. No, it's not that at all. It has nothing to do with that. How come a PlayStation fan, or any gamer for that matter, is not allowed to be happy when a good news comes out about their console? I mean, if good news comes out about the PS4 and it happens to make Xbox One look inferior, or it happens to make Xbox One look, not as good, that's not my problem. That's not something you should be upset with me about. Be upset with Microsoft about that. Don't be upset with me about it. I'm happy that my PlayStation 4 is getting higher end games and higher quality games, but I don't slam Xbox One for it. Sure, let me take that back. I will slam Xbox One for it if an Xbox fanboy starts getting in my face about it, saying that PlayStation 4 is shit and I got no games and all this other bogus out of this world stuff that I've heard over the last several months. Then yeah, I'll slam Xbox One. But do I really mean it? No. I know Xbox One's a great console. I know people who love it. I know people who own it and play it all the time, and people who love the games and who, you know, actually adore it over any PlayStation console, whether they've owned one before or not. And that's fine. They're entitled to their opinion. But I'm entitled to mine too. And if my opinion is that a 1080p game is better than a 900p game, then I'm entitled to that opinion. I don't deserve to get slammed for it by anybody that claims to be from this Xbox Mafia thing. And I've always wondered what the hell Xbox Mafia is anyway. I guess it's kind of like, their version of the PlayStation Nation. But when I think of PlayStation Nation, it reminds me of just like a bunch of gamers uniting with the same passion and the same love and the same drive and, the same, love for the same games and all that kind of stuff. And it just seems like a nice positive vibe and a nice positive atmosphere. But then I see this Xbox Mafia, and I think the first thing I think of is a mafia. Like, I'm thinking about mobsters and thieves and murderers and, you know, underground crime and prostitution and all these kind of, prostitution rings and, drug deals and cocaine flying all over the place. That's what I think about when I hear the word mafia. And I don't know why any gamers would want to associate themselves with that kind of image. To me, it doesn't look good. And then when you start coming across like guys like J Rock and you start swearing and insulting people over the internet who you don't even know, um, you basically setting a bad name for you and the rest of everybody else that has Xbox Mafia in their profile description. Now, like I said, I've already blocked several Xbox Mafia fans off my Twitter. It just seems like that group of people is just a poison to the gaming community, and I'm not trying to generalize. I'm not trying to say that they're all like that, but it seems like 9 times out of 10, that's the kind of treatment I get from somebody with Xbox Mafia in their Twitter profile. I don't know why, but like I said, I didn't antagonize, I didn't provoke this guy in any way whatsoever. I've never done that. I just, if I have news, I share it. If it makes Xbox look bad, that's Microsoft's fault, not me. If it makes PlayStation look good, that's great. I'm glad, and that's probably why I'm spreading the news. But I don't, intentionally go out of my way to try to make Microsoft look bad. I don't intentionally go out of my way to insult and degrade Microsoft gamers. I don't intentionally go out of my way to be an asshole, to Xbox fans just because they like Xbox. That's not what I'm about. That's not what anybody should be about. I think that's low, and basically, you're an internet gangster if that's the kind of guy you are. You don't know me. You don't know me in person, and you shouldn't be talking shit over the internet. All it's basically doing is making you look like a chump. And if that's what you want to look like, that's fine. But you're just gonna get blocked. Like most people have been blocking you anyway. As far as I can only assume. But anyways, that's gonna be the end of this little rant here. I just want to just get some of that stuff off my chest and just this is kind of like a what the fuck video. Like, what the fuck is up with some of these people? But anyways, I know I've said some stuff that have offended people in the past, and I've never really intended on offending people. But sometimes you say things, um, you know, without really thinking about it first. But this is completely different. This guy is totally trying to get under my skin, and I don't really appreciate that. I think it's a pretty cowardice way to deal with strangers, and I think he should basically be banned off Twitter for stuff like that. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up here. I didn't even realize I've been talking for 15 minutes, and so yeah. If you like this video, leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. If you have any examples of either a PlayStation fanboy or an Xbox fanboy or a PC fanboy who've been giving you a hard time, let me know. I'd like to hear about it. And let's all just try to get along from now on. File self out.